I sent my coworker a video of me touching myself. My husband saw it and walked out. I didn't think he would find it. I was so careless with it. Cole had always been trusting. He trusted me too much. He never really doubted anything I said. I didn't think he would go through my phone. He had never done so for all of the years we've been together. I didn't expect that day to be any different. But it was because Cole saw everything. He saw that video of me touching myself. And I didn't just make the video for fun. I had sent it to someone, my coworker, Alex. After that day, Cole walked out of my life and he never came back. It's been 3 months since he found out and I've heard nothing from him. No calls, no texts. And sadly, even when I tried countless times to work things out, Cole blocked me on every means of doing so. And it feels like my life ended the day he walked out. It's all my fault. I was the one who initiated things with Alex, and I regret it so much. But my biggest regret would be that I completely pushed Cole away. I had always worked with Alex. Alex wasn't someone new or different. He had always been someone I knew. But I never noticed him before like I did last year. He had always been a nervous wreck around people. He was great with computers, but was awkward with people. Most people only put up with him because he was good at what he did, and that included me. So basically, he had never been a threat to me or my marriage. I met Cole 3 years ago, and we got married 6 months after meeting. It all happened so fast, but felt really amazing and right too. I still remember our first meeting like it happened yesterday. Cole had some business with the company I worked for, and I was luckily assigned to him. He really did give me everything. He was kind, patient, and loving. Cole was also rich too, which made him fit almost everything I wanted. Almost because honestly, I had always thought that Cole wasn't all that handsome. He didn't look anything like all of my exes either. I had always dated guys that were too heartbreakingly handsome, although those guys always cheated on me or found someone else. But then Cole matched everything else I wanted, so I was willing at the time to settle for him because he was the best option for me. So when Cole proposed to me on his birthday, I said yes, and we got married a month after that. We never planned for kids at first. We wanted to get to know ourselves first before having any kids. I suggested it, and Cole didn't mind. We were both young and trying to build our career, so we just really wanted to love and build. That and the fact that I didn't want to imagine my kids looking anything like Cole, though I regret that now very much. Maybe, just maybe, if I had his kid or kids, Cole wouldn't be able to cut me off so thoroughly without any second thoughts. Maybe I will be able to have some sort of access to him right now, instead of nothing except his lawyer badgering me to sign the divorce papers. I was truly happy with Cole. Although now that I've done nothing but revisit the past several times in a day these past months, I realized how selfish I had been. I had ignored most of anything that had to do with Cole, and it became even worse with Alex in the picture. I did everything that was comfortable for me and nothing for Cole. I attended dinners that celebrated my friends or my success at work and never one of his. I always had excuses to come up with. I never did anything for him. The whole thing with Alex had also started as a result of my selfishness too. I was greedy to have the things I couldn't have, and in the end, I ended up with nothing at all. Alex, like I mentioned before, was just a regular coworker, not someone I was ever interested in. But somehow, Alex suddenly became someone who everyone was whispering about around the office. He had taken a 6 months personal leave from work last year, and when he came back, he was just better. He wasn't that nervous guy anymore, and he got a new haircut, one that brought out his handsome face. He even worked out and suddenly seemed to dress even better. And just like everyone else in the office, I noticed him too. Everyone suddenly wanted to be his friend. The guys, of course, wanted to hear the secret of how he became hot, and the girls wanted a different thing entirely. It didn't help matters that he suddenly was able to flirt easily. Somehow I just started to like him even more. I was starting to have dreams, sex-crazed ones about him, even with Cole lying with his arms wrapped around me at night. I started to really imagine all the things that he would do to me if we ever had the chance. It was crazy thinking, I know, but I just somehow started to feel that way. I even started to get jealous when he spoke to the other girls at work. I wanted to gain his attention too, desperately in fact, but then luck was on my side. Well, I wouldn't call it luck now, but then I finally got my chance. We were asked to work together. We were supposed to be 3 working on that particular project, But then the third person had a personal project at hand and left everything mainly to Alex and I. I thought of it as my chance to do something about my new feelings for Alex. So I started to dress better. I wore those dresses that I never really wore before. The same ones that Cole had bought for me and had told me that they would look sensual on me. But I refused them because they aren't my thing. I got a different haircut and I even started to put on makeup to work. I really just wanted to do so to gain his attention, and I really started to. When Cole noticed that I was wearing those dresses and the makeup, I told him they were for him. I told him that I just wanted to do something different and change. Cole believed me, and he was really pleased. Alex noticed too. He was also complimenting me. He even started to flirt with me. We would have late-night discussions together in the office with the excuse of working on the project. We even started to spend time at his place. Alex was nothing like Cole. He was just different. I felt like he got me more than Cole did. We had the same interests. We loved the same kinds of things. We definitely had the same job, so we had the same dream of getting to the top. We got so close, and I even started telling him things about Cole and I, how I felt like he was my only option, and how even though he loved me, I wasn't so sure about us. I remember Alex's response that day. I wish we had been this way earlier. Then maybe things would have been different. Even though I knew within me that the only reason I noticed him was because he became even more handsome, I still didn't mind. That sentence had a changing point in our relationship. I kissed him that day, right after he said those words, and Alex had kissed me back. I was sure it would have gone further if it hadn't been that we heard a phone ring, mine. I should have had regrets, right? I mean, I was kissing a man who wasn't my husband, but I felt nothing. Well, I did feel a lot of things, but regret wasn't one of those things. I was exhilarated, restless, and even more than willing to do more of it. So much that when Alex invited me to his place to work, I was more than eager to go. We both knew what we wanted that day. We didn't have to do any talking. There was no foreplay needed either because we had both been playing at it for almost 2 weeks before that day. We just went straight into it. The craziest thing was it was only after we finished that we both remembered that we hadn't used protection. And it was only then I remembered Cole. But I was quick to dismiss the feeling. I made up for my guilt. I played the perfect wife with Cole, spending the weekends with him and ensuring that he suspected nothing of my affair with Alex. And during the weekdays after work, I was with Alex. After that first day we spent together, I thought the relationship between Alex and I would be complicated, but instead it only grew even more. We suddenly couldn't get enough of each other. We couldn't wait to get some alone time together. We even snuck out during lunch break to have sex, although we never left work together so no one suspected us together. And because of Alex's new fame at work, I was almost invincible. No one saw or cared where I went. So it made it easy to sneak around with him, coupled with the fact that we had to work together. Even when we finished up the work, we still found ways to sneak around. I didn't even realize how selfish and manipulative Alex was until after Cole found out. I should have noticed that he was using me, but I was too involved in the whole thing to care. I loved how he knew my body even more than I did myself. He knew how to turn me on easily and always made sure I was completely physically exhausted before he stopped. I should have noticed how stupid and naive I was being about the whole thing, but I never did. At least not until now. A month after our affair started, Alex suddenly got a promotion at work. I eventually found out that Alex took credit for the project we both worked on. Mostly I did the job because we spent most of our time together having sex. So any of my other free time, I spent it working on it just to have more free time with Alex. But then when I found out, Alex told me that he was manipulated into it somehow. That the boss had assumed he did most of the work, and when he tried correcting them, they didn't exactly listen. I believed him. I stupidly did, even though his story sounded really sketchy. I just wanted to continue and not end things with him. So I didn't look much into anything. I didn't mind that after Alex got his promotion, I did most of his work for him. He was pretty good at convincing me to do anything with his mouth and hands, so I was always willing to be used. I thought I got as much benefit as he was getting from the relationship. Somehow, even though I thought I was hiding my affair with Alex perfectly, I still wasn't able to perfect some lies that I told Cole. And he started to suspect my shady behavior, Like the secret calls that I always took in the bathroom, or the one time he actually walked in on me smiling like a silly child, while Alex was saying something dirty on the phone to me. It was the weekend and I couldn't go out to meet him, and apparently he missed me, so he had called. I thought that Cole was working on his laptop, so I made the call right there, in our bedroom. I must have looked guilty from the way I quickly ended the call and shouted at him to make himself known when he entered a place, because Cole was surprised and looked at me suspiciously, but he said nothing. But then, even though I knew Cole suspected things, I was confident that he had no proof of my affair, and therefore couldn't outrightly accuse me of it. But I tried to get rid of his suspicions, and eventually it really did seem like Cole stopped suspecting me, so I was really glad. I was happy I gained his trust again, and that we were really fine. But then, you never can get away with something as wicked as an affair, can you? Because Cole eventually found out, and it was all because of how confident and selfish I am. I was finally on my yearly leave, and the relief I would usually feel wasn't there. Because at that time, I was struggling with the idea of being away from Alex. I stupidly felt like sleeping with him was the only way I could be happy. And I was right. Within a week of staying at home with nothing to do, I was frustrated, mostly sexually, and I was bored. I knew leaving the house would cause Cole to be very suspicious, especially since he was currently also always in the house. We literally had the same circle of friends, so I couldn't exactly lie about hanging out with my friends. My parents lived far away, and Cole was always constantly checking on them, so I couldn't lie with them either. So when an idea stuck in my mind, I didn't stop to proof-think it. I didn't even bother to think of any loopholes. I just went along with the idea. Knowing Cole the way I did, I knew that he wouldn't be done with the work he had that day very easily. He had told me before leaving the room for his study that he had a deadline and would be busy all day, so I was confident, bold even, that Cole wouldn't walk in on me. So I set up my phone on the bed right in front of me without even bothering to lock the door. I was right there on our bed, completely naked, and I started to touch myself. I was imagining Alex doing things to me, and I just went on for almost 30 minutes. I didn't even stop to think about what I was doing, and I just sent the video to Alex immediately, without watching or editing anything out. I wanted to show him exactly what he was missing, what we were both missing. Alex's response was as I expected. He was thrilled and even sent me a picture of his erection to show me what I was doing to him by sending a video like that. Happy that I was not the only one affected by our no means of seeing each other, I left my phone and went to the bathroom to clean myself up. But then I ended up taking a bath. I didn't know that a moment of disaster was waiting for me right outside the bathroom door. Because of the water and my happy humming, I hadn't heard Cole come into the room. I hadn't heard him unlock my phone, which usually did with a bleeping sound. I didn't know that he had gone through my phone, my chat particularly with Alex. I was still in the bathroom, and it was only when I heard a loud crashing sound that I panicked and ran out of the bathroom. I thought it was someone who had broken in, or maybe something else. But I certainly didn't expect to walk into the room and meet Cole standing in the middle of the room breathing hard, with my phone on the ground broken into several pieces. I was so shocked and kept staring at him, I couldn't even think of a word to say, but I just knew from his expression and the way he kept breathing heavily. He knew. I tried to say something at that very moment, maybe beg or cry or both, but nothing. I was just frozen to the spot, watching Cole for his next action. He pointed angrily at me and said one thing, just 2 words, and they are forever etched in my brain. "You slut!" He said nothing afterwards and just walked out of the house and didn't come back. I stayed back at home, afraid of leaving or doing anything else. Luckily, my work phone was with me, but I didn't dare call Cole knowing he was upset. I thought that by the time he came back, he would be calmer. I thought that I would be able to tell him my part. I thought to lie about it being a mistake, that the video was meant for him and not my coworker. But I knew that Cole would never believe me. The messages on that phone were incriminating enough, and I didn't even know how far he had read them, but I knew it was definitely enough to cause anyone to understand exactly what was going on. But I was desperate. I kept calling and texting Cole to give me the chance to explain, but I was getting no replies, none whatsoever. I tried calling his friends to confirm if he was with them, but he wasn't with any of them. The next morning, I was more scared because I still hadn't heard from Cole. I didn't know that Cole was only planning to ruin me to get revenge. I got a call from my mom. Actually, more than 10 missed calls were on my phone when I woke up from sleep. Sleep that I had only been able to get 1 hour in because of how restless I had grown. When I finally called her back, she only asked me questions. Is it true, what Cole says? I didn't understand until she mentioned something that made my ear ring in pain at that moment. All the while I was waiting and praying that Cole would come home and hear me out. He had been driving to my parents' place, and it was to show them the pictures of the chat between Alex and I, including the video I made the afternoon before. I was so shocked and couldn't even answer my mom, and I guess that was all the answer she needed, because she started to curse at me and cry at the same time. It was my dad who must have heard her crying that ended the call, but before he did, he told me clearly that he wanted nothing to do with me. I was still so shocked. I didn't expect it to escalate that fast and easily, and I tried calling Cole again. I wanted to reason with him. Perhaps even beg him to come home and not ruin me further, but he still wouldn't pick any of my calls or return them. Cole didn't show up at the house even after a week, and it was truly the most horrible week in my life. Cole had somehow been able to get someone to leak the pictures and video on my workplace platform, and I was fired immediately for indiscretion. Alex was also fired too, but that had been my eye-opener, sadly. The way he kept yelling at me and blaming me for everything right there at the office after being fired and was called to clear our desk. He didn't look like the Alex I thought I knew. He treated me like trash right there, and I felt so disgusted with myself. And I can safely say that is all I have ever felt for myself since that day. He didn't even bother about my feelings. All of those feelings of love he ever spoke about were all lies. He had even one time tried getting me to leave Cole. Making promises that he was going to marry me immediately, I left him, and I really did believe his words. I thought he really did love me and was willing to do anything for me. Do you want to know the funniest thing? I really thought I was in love with Alex. I even thought I would leave everything that I had with Cole for him. I thought that everything that he made me feel was the right thing. I was even able to imagine our future together, our cute kids and beautiful life as a couple who worked in the same field. Nothing ever prepared me for Cole actually leaving my life. It made me realize just how much he means to me and how close to nothing I am without him. I remember that day like it happened minutes ago. Nothing prepared me for that look of disgust, hurt, and anger all at once in Cole's eyes. After that day, my life has been a living hell, and it's so terrible. I had to move out of the house because once Cole's mother, who never really liked me anyways, heard. She came over to the house and ensured I left nothing of mine there. Even if it took the security of the house to drag me out of the house I've always known and thought that I would live in until I was old, and perhaps raise my kids in, has now become a forbidden territory to me. Nothing prepared me for the gossip, too. The rumors, the insults I received from people including my friends. No one was on my side, and no one was on my side. Everyone has left me, and even though it's been months now, no one still would talk to me, especially Cole. Knowing now that I'm worthless to him makes me feel nothing but shame and disgust towards myself. I feel like a total fool because I've lost the only man who ever truly loved me because I was chasing the wind. I was sleeping with a coward like Alex, a man who wanted me for nothing other than my body, a man that I lost everything for and gained nothing. I remember how I had stupidly aborted a baby thinking it was Alex's baby. We had been careless again like the first time we spent together, and I realized I was pregnant. It was only after I got rid of it that I discovered that Alex has had a vasectomy done. He could never get me pregnant. It was Cole's baby, and I had just cut my only chance of being in his life totally. Even though, at that time, I had been relieved. I didn't want to be saddled with a baby because I knew that Alex wouldn't find me sexy anymore with a protruding belly. Now I regret that single decision amongst many others. I wish I had never done the things I did. I wish that time would just reverse and give me the opportunity to just undo the things I've done. I desperately wish that I could really just go back and love Cole the right way that I should have from the beginning. But I know that it doesn't matter how desperate I am to go back in time. It doesn't matter how hard I wish that this was only a dream. I have lost in life, and there's no going past that. I could have avoided all of these. I really could, but I too caught up in my selfish acts to see just how badly it would end. And it did end, really badly, with no chance, none whatsoever for a do-over.